Welcome to our Daily Timothy Time. My name is Karl, and it's a privilege, pleasure, and an absolute joy to be with you once again. This time not with an open King James Bible, but singing a song and talking to you about the song. And I'll tell you why I'm doing this video. Is episode 383 is still in the making. I'm still studying up for the message I want to deliver, and it's been a week now, and I thought, hey, I need to put something up on the channel just to stay engaged. So I've decided to talk about play and talk about the song, the recent song that I've just written and put out there called Chicago. So let me sing it, and then I'll break it down for you. And it's maybe you get something from it, maybe you don't, but here it is. Cool. Hope you enjoy it. Hey, my first time preaching Chicagoland. Hey, my first time preaching Shorewood. Hey, my first time preaching behind his pulpit, and I cried. Oh boy, I cried. Friday night, and Charlie's little one sang a hymn. I'm gonna down this battlefield, hit me in the fields. And Richard got up and said he ain't sung the song in long. And when he told us why, I saw a tear in his eye. Hey, my first time preaching Chicagoland. Hey, my first time preaching Shorewood. Hey, my first time preaching behind his pulpit, and I cried. Oh boy, I cried. Saw some faces staring back at me. Bellows family, Rick and Linda, Rick and Cynthia, Vicky and Terry and Kelly, and Ray and Debbie and Alex and Sherry, and Mike, Taylor and John and others too. Hey, I'm preaching Chicagoland. Hey, my first time preaching Shorewood. And hey, my first time preaching behind his pulpit, and I cried. Oh boy, I cried. Wanted to go down to Florida to see the Mad Bad Crew. I wanted to see Joel and Hal and Fred and Mike too. But sadly I didn't come through. And hey, my first time preaching Chicagoland. First time preaching Shorewood. Hey, behind his pulpit, and I cried, oh, I cried. Ted Fellows, Richard Jordan, and Alex Kurz, and Rick Jordan Jr. the third, and John Verstegen. These men, they preach the word, just preach the word, just preach the word. Right, so that's the song, and let me break it down for you. Maybe you find this interesting, maybe you don't, but the song's called Chicago, and as I go into that first verse, my first time preaching Chicagoland. Well, it was my first time preaching in the Chicagoland area, and I mentioned Shorewood, and so you might be thinking, well, what on earth is Shorewood? Well, it's Shorewood Bible Church in Chicagoland. That's where Richard Jordan is the senior pastor. Alex Kurz is the co-pastor there, if I can say it like that. And there's some other really faithful men that teach there. Justin Bellows, Karl Graham, Mike Taylor. Who else am I missing here? Ben Wonder. I mean, there's an armada of really great grace preachers that are from that church or at that church. And in that opening line I sing, not only do I sing about Chicagoland, which I've just explained, Shorewood, and then I speak about O'Hare's pulpit. Now the pulpit that I'm behind there was from the original North Shore Church, if I've understood correctly, where J.C. O'Hare, who died in 1958, that was the pulpit that he preached behind, and it's ended up at Shorewood. I believe there were two churches that amalgamated a number of years ago, and that pulpit came from the original North Shore Church. Goodness, I can't remember the name of the other church, but it's O'Hare's pulpit. So that's why I say behind O'Hare's pulpit. Now, I also say I mentioned that I cried behind O'Hare's pulpit the first time I preached there. Well, I did. Charlie McQuillan on the Friday night of the conference. I was there for a conference, and him and his girls got up and sang. I think his little boy also sang with the pack of them, and they sang a hymn called "I'm Gonna Die on This Battlefield." Well, I tell you what, in the song I said, "Hit me in the fields." Well, it certainly did, because I'm a father of 2 kids. And I was away in Chicago. My family are based in Norway. And, I just missed my kids, man. Yeah. Any parent listening to me now would understand that. And so that's hence the lyrics. Then you get into, if I get into stanza 2 of the song, where I sing some folks staring back at me. Well, that was my view from O'Hare's pulpit looking down. I mean, for the first time preaching at Shorewood and being a Grace School of the Bible grad, it was quite a special thing to have Rick Jordan Jr. the third was in the order. Him and his wife Linda were there. You've got Richard and Cynthia there, Alex and Sherry. You've got the Bellows family. You've got Terry and Kelly McCann. Sitting, you've got Debbie and Ray and John in the front, and Mike Taylor. And oh man, that's just what I can remember. I mean, there were more people there, and but it was a really special audience for me, or assembly, should I say. And I wasn't preaching anything new that night. Everybody knew what I had to say. I mean, it's but it was that was the audience, and to have to have Brother Richard Jordan sitting in the audience, whom I learned from going through Grace School of the Bible. It was a privilege, and it was very special to me. Then getting back to the song, I went into stanza, where was it now? Okay, I bring up the Mad Bad Crew down in Florida. Well, what on earth is that? Okay, well, a couple of times during the week on, I'm just trying to remember the church website, Orlando Bible Fellowship, in Orlando, Florida. The pastors there, Fred Beckermeyer, Hal Beckermeyer, Pastor Joel Hayes, they've got a podcast that they run, and it's called the Grace Life Podcast. You can find it on their YouTube channel. They go live on a Monday, Tuesday, and a Thursday for the podcast, and a Friday. That's the podcast. And I wanted to go down and meet the guys because I had a free day on the Monday before I flew back to Scandinavia. And it just didn't happen for me, sadly. And that was, I was looking forward to that. It was, maybe next time, eh? But anyway, that's why I sing about that. And then in the closing verse, you hear me mention a stanza. You hear me singing about a few brothers. I start off with Ted Fellows. I move on to mention Richard Jordan, Alex Kurz, Rick Jordan Jr. the third, and John Verstegen. Those were the men that spoke at that conference during the weekend. I got the Sunday night final spot. So those are the men that preached there, and faithful men, man. Ted Fellows has got his own. He's a pastor of a church. The link will be in the description box down below. Then you got Alex Kurz, who's part of the furniture and at Shorewood Bible Church. You got Rick Jordan Jr. the third. He's a pastor of Southwest Bible Fellowship in Arizona. Link will be down in the description if you want to connect with Rick. And then there's John Verstegen from California. He's got Berean Bible Ministries. John was very influential in my early days in the Grace message. And it was one of his assembly members, Dan Cobb, that got me, who introduced me or mentioned to me for the first time about Grace School of the Bible. So John and his assembly are quite dear to me. I've never visited them, well, not yet anyway, but I sure hope to one day. I'd love to attend their conference that they have at the beginning of each year. And then one thing I must mention, I wrote this whole song because of my experience there, and I like to write songs and play music. But one last thing about Chicago, I only got the gap because of Fred Beckermeyer. Fred Beckermeyer had an operation on his neck, and he was booked in to speak on the Sunday night. Richard had organized that, but because of his op, sadly, Fred couldn't make it to the conference. I was really hoping to see him there, but he didn't make it. And that's how the opportunity for me to preach that Sunday night message, which, by the way, was titled, Just Preach the Word. The link for that message will be down below. You can have a look at it. And one last final fun fact about the song Chicago. When I got back, I crafted the song, wrote it, and I made a little music video, which is going to pop up after this short time together. Yeah, I made the short little music video. I spent no money on it or anything. It was just having fun in my lounge area here. And the suit that I wore in the music video was the actual suit, shirt, and tie that I wore that night that I preached that message at Shorewood in Chicagoland behind O'Hare's pulpit. Anyway, I just thought I would make this short little video in the interim while I'm studying out my next message, which will be episode 383, titled, Are We Gods? Based off Psalm 82 verse 6. Anyway, till we meet again next time, keep your sword sharp. Keep your sword sharp, soldier. Grace and peace to you. Maranatha.